Steph Hodge with BoardGameGeek here with Daniel Zayas of the Daniel Zayas Company. When you're looking at Cutie Met Patootie.
We are.
Is it a really cute game?
It's pretty cute.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. So this game.
Give me the overview.
Yeah.
How did you come up with this?
How did I come up with this? I came up with it as an abstract game that sort of I developed the world around it, right?
Nice.
So I wasn't really getting attracted to the game in its form without any theme, and so I just started to build a story, and then how does this story interact with the mechanisms of the game, and then that's really that led to design afterwards.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so, tell me a little bit about, is this currently available?
No. It was on Kickstarter a year ago. It's just going out to backers maybe the end of the month.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Sorry, backers, it was a month or two late, but in Kickstarter world, that's okay, I think.
It's not a year late, so.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, it's going out to backers. I think it's leaving the factory at the end of the month, right? So,
perfect.
Yep. So, they will receive it, and then
it'll be available for retail.
What'll happen is this is a weird game where I promised backers that it would be a Kickstarter only game.
Oh, okay.
Right? But what'll happen is anytime I go to Kickstarter now, I can just bring this back as an add-on purchase. Right?
Sounds cool.
Yeah, and so next year the prequel to this will go up, and that's when you'll be able to get this again. Right?
Excellent.
But this is cool for the backers to see the game.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Almost near final form. This is basically what they're going to receive. Okay, so when Cutie Met Patootie, you're going to take on the role of one of these random citizens. I won't know who you are, and you won't know who I am. You don't necessarily care about which characters make it up to the end. What you care about is what they're carrying with them. Okay? Because you only get points for 3 colors, and it's just for the explanation, right? So I wouldn't know what you had, and you wouldn't know what I have.
I don't know who you have.
But you would get points for only these 3 colors, or I would get points for only these 3 colors.
So
right?
It's yellow, blue, and black on my cards.
Right, which means that this character, which is Elsie, Mr. Zhang wants Elsie to get to the top for sure, because Elsie is worth
all those colors.
Yeah, Elsie is worth already 3 free points for Mr. Zhang.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, and then Mrs. Zhang, we randomly dealt this out, but Mrs. Zhang wants Poncho to make it up to the top, because Poncho is immediately going to get
He's so cute. Oh my goodness.
It's very, very derpy and cute. Yeah.
He's so cute. I'm
yes.
gonna put these
Oh yeah,
down for
that makes sense for the camera.
Yeah.
Very good.
They're really cute.
So, the way this works is every time you move a character, you can only do one of 2 things. You can gather resources or you can spend resources.
Okay.
So when you spend resources, you're just going to move the character up along the path. Anything it touches before it gets to a center portion of the forest,
so that'd be yellow.
That will cost them yellow. However, I can also spend any 2 resources to make up for 1 resource.
Okay.
Right, so maybe in this case, I see ahead that I might need white or blue, so maybe I'll actually keep the blue, and I'll use these 2 resources.
Sure.
Right, and so that will be out of here. There will be a lot more gems on the table.
Maybe you would have gone there instead because there's a black path.
Could have gone there because I would be using black. Now, one thing to consider is once I go to the edge of this pyramid forest, I'm stuck on the edge, right? Because I have to only go this way. There's no backtracking.
I do see that.
Right, so I keep my options open if I go here. Also, when I'm looking ahead, if ever I see my character on the space, that one character can move for free into that space.
Nice.
So even though I would have spent 2 resources to get up to this one and kept the blue, right?
Free.
I would be able to move into this one for free now, which is why I would want to go this way.
What about this thing?
Yeah, so this is leading up to the path. As long as I'm going to that space ending up, it's free.
Anything on the way.
Yes, anything on the way. So these 2 would actually be null and void. I don't need to worry about that as that character in a future turn. One cool thing is that I'm not controlling this character.
Yeah.
We can all move anything. Like, even though I won't know that you're going for Elsie, right? But I could just say, yeah, I think Elsie should move, because eventually I'm going to put all of my resources that get me points onto Elsie once it gets to the top, right? And Elsie actually matches 2 of my colors anyway. So I would be moving Elsie
that
up
best
anyway.
match your people.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a perfect match for everyone, but there's also matches that are two
Pretty
of
good.
three. Right.
Yeah.
So what happens is that's the basic part of the game. Another important thing is any time I need to get resources. So what I can do in here is instead of moving up, what I can do instead is spend a card. And I'll have 3 cards in my hand. I forgot to give you 3 cards at the beginning of the game, but I'll have 3 cards in my hand that are exactly the same as the paths.
Forest paths.
Yeah, they're exactly the same. But what I'm going to do is I can spend this to get resources. So remember I said you can either spend resources or get resources.
Yeah.
So I'll spend a card, and if I spend a card, I can give all 3 of these resources to Elsie, or I can distribute them however I want.
Oh.
Okay? So let's just say I get these 3 resources, and this is kind of the test version, so I don't have all the gems that are going to be in the game. So I'm going to cheat for a second just so I can show that we're going to get these resources and explain that part of it.
Put Elsie.
Yeah, we'll put, it's just a discard, right? So I have these 3 resources for discarding this out of my hand.
Okay, so you get
if I
those
give them
resources.
all to Elsie, nothing bad happens.
Nothing bad happens.
Right. But if I distribute these, because maybe I don't want Elsie to have all those, she doesn't even need them to get up there, right? And maybe black doesn't even, let's see here, yellow doesn't even get me points, so I don't care about yellow, right?
Okay.
So I'll
Unless
give,
you needed it for a pathway.
Maybe, right? If I'm trying to get everyone up, but sometimes I don't care about one specifically, and I'm just gonna bloat out their space because there's
because you don't think that they want to use them.
Once they're full of gems, you have to spend them away.
Okay.
Right. So anyway, so I've distributed these inefficiently, and now what's going to happen is the penalty is Rewind, who is the bad guy in all of this world, is now going to gear up his flood.
Uh-oh.
Yes. So we're going to do this throughout the game, and they're going to move up, and they're going to spend resources, but they're always going to need to replenish resources by spending these path cards. After I spend a path card, by the way, I'll draw back up to 3.
So you can always get more gems.
Yep, I'll always have 3.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but as I start spending inefficiently, which is going to be necessary actually to move all the characters up, but as I start spending inefficiently, these will start to flip over. And once all of these are flipped over, that was kind of foreshadowing what's going to happen, because any characters who are on this row here, if you'll see, I had 1 extra, but you'll see here that there were 5 flood cards, and if any characters, we'll just say that poor Amelia hasn't made it up past this row, and because all of these flood cards triggered,
the bottom
row goes away, and we have flooded that row. And poor Amelia has now been captured.
Amelia anyway.
Yeah, Amelia it hasn't perished, but is captured by Rewind, right?
Ah, yes.
So we're going to go ahead and get rid of Amelia and all of the gems that she had, and we're going to get rid of Amelia. And poor Amelia has fallen to Rewind.
Sure.
Then what happens is I'm going to remove one of these because now the lowest row has 4 cards, right? So I'm going to flip these over, and now there are 4 Rewind cards, and we'll start again.
Okay.
Okay? So here's another thing that can happen. If we get to the point where all of these characters have progressed, have gone high, right? All of these characters have gone high, then, and let's just say this happens, and like I've now just moved this 1 over, okay?
Yes.
This row is empty, which means we're automatically going to get rid of the row, but we're not going to reset this.
Sure.
And once that happens, this goes away, the good one goes away, and now we're going to double flood.
Oh, no.
Because there's all of these are revealed now.
Is there only going to be 1 winner?
And then there's only going to be these 2 characters that are survived. And then that goes away.
Ah.
And now anyone...
Hopefully your character is still there.
And hopefully your character is still there.
Can any person be on the same space?
Up to 2 characters can be on any one space.
Okay.
And once we get to 3 cards, we'll do the scoring, which is what the remaining characters are carrying.
And then compare to...
Yep.
I got you. All right, cool.
And that's the game.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. And so this was it might be on a future Kickstarter that you do.
Yeah, definitely will be on a future Kickstarter. Next year, I'll be launching the prequel to When Cutie Met Patootie, which is Children of the Wildlight, and this will be an add-on for that game.
Excellent. So we can look for it in the Kickstarter then.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Thanks.